Today we're speedrunning Hades and we'll be doing a fresh file speedrun. Now our speedrun starts as soon as we select a new game and we have to wait out a little cutscene. But after getting through that, here's where Zagreus, our main character, is going to jump down and we can start using him. Basically the story behind this game is we're the prince of the underworld and our father doesn't want us leaving, but we want to get into the mortal world so we can meet our mother. So our father's going to put a bunch of enemies to try to attack us and try to stop us from going and meeting her. And we're going to be doing this entire speedrun on our first run. Normally this game is a roguelike, so you're supposed to get better and better as you do more runs. You're not supposed to beat this game in your very first run, but we don't care. We're just going to do it. And we can start out right here by getting our first boon, which is going to be Divine Dash. There are a few different gods who will help us, and we can use their boons to give us different power-ups. For Divine Dash, you'll see every time I dash, I have a little ring of protection around me, and that will deflect enemies' attacks, so we can use that pretty well. We'll also get some darkness, but that doesn't really matter for this run. Things like darkness and keys are normally useful in the game when you're playing over and over, but because we're doing a fresh file speedrun, we don't need that at all, and we're hoping that we don't get those and instead get things like hearts, because that's going to raise our total HP by 25, and this speedrun is very difficult, so we'll definitely need some more HP, at least once we get into some of the lighter parts. For now, as long as we're playing pretty well, we should be fine. And at this point, I should tell you about the main combo we're using. I want to do a dash strike into a regular strike and then a special attack, and then we can just repeat that over and over again, and that gives us the most amount of damage possible. Then you also see that sometimes the enemies will have a shield around them. That's their armor, and we have to hit through their armor before we can actually attack them, and you can't stun an enemy when it has armor. So yeah, there's something we have to deal with a lot. But right there, I got some cash, which is really nice because we'll be able to buy some stuff later in the shop, and we're just trying to play this as smartly as possible, not getting hit as much as possible, though we did right there. A little bit of damage, especially this early on, doesn't really matter. I'm just trying not to play too stupidly. So I'm going to keep going with this same general strike. We'll get through those, and we're hoping to see some boons right now, and right as I say that, we see Athena. Athena is one of my favorite gods. She's the one that gave us our dash and making that much better, and we also want to get a special from her. That's going to make it so every time we use our special attack, it reflects things around us, and it also does more damage, so it's a really good one, and it also has a secret reason why it's good, but I'll explain that later. For now, we are going to take this, and we see that we didn't get what we want, so instead we're going to take a cast. And then instead of taking the shop, I think I'm going to go over to this one, because normally you can buy things like an Athena boon, but instead we might as well save our money and just go right here to get one for free. But I took that cast so I won't see another cast from the gods later on. Instead, we already have what we need, and it will give us other things, like, again, hopefully I'm going to get a special. And then as for our attack, we want to get Ares attack, but I'll go into that once we actually get it, hopefully. This game is completely luck dependent based on what gods you get and the items you get, so it's really hard. For this speedrun, you have to do a ton of resets, but we just got lucky right there. We did get a special, and we also see Ares right after. And not only are we seeing Ares, but this is also in a mini boss room. The great thing about mini boss rooms is anytime you get a boon from them, it has a way higher chance of being a rare boon and giving us more damage. I believe in Tartarus, it's actually a 100% chance that the boons will be at least rare, and they can also be epic, but we'll see what we get right here. We can go ahead and grab Ares, and there we go, we get the attack. Now the great thing about this attack is every time we hit one of the enemies, you'll see that there's a red thing above their heads. This is called Doom, and after waiting a bit, it will come down on their heads and do 75 damage. This would normally be 50 damage, but because we got a rare boon, it does more. And now that we have both the special and the attack, what we're mainly going for is a duo boon. This is a boon you can get in combination with both Ares and Athena. It's called Merciful End, but I'll really explain it once we get to it. For now, we're hoping for it to happen, but there are also a bunch of other things we want to get on the way. And I also don't want to get hit tons of time, especially because this is a really good run. I need to start playing smarter, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead, strike this guy. We see these guys with armor. I have to be careful around them because they do 3 shots at the same time. So if I'm not careful, they'll just attack me 3 times in a row because there's no invulnerability between attacks. But we see our second shop, and in this one we're actually going to take it, and we see an Athena boon, and we're going to go ahead and take Brilliant Riposte. Now what that does is it unlocks a legendary boon for us to get, or at least we have the chance to get it now. But again, I'll explain it if we actually get to it. For now, we're just going ahead, and we have to take out our first boss, which is Meg. Meg is a really hard boss when you only have 1 dash. I know I'm saying this and then making it look a lot easier, but that's because I have practiced this game way too much. I've put a lot of work into this speedrun speedrun, so I know all of her attacks. Normally though, when you're playing this game, you eventually are able to get a second dash, and it helps so much for all the bosses, Meg especially. Because the thing is, when you only have one dash, you have to make sure that every dash counts, because there is some time in between your dashes, and if you do one, then they use an attack, you're surely going to get hit. But we've been playing it pretty well. We'll go ahead and do a couple of specials. Meg only has a little bit of health left. We'll dodge that one just like normal, and we're just trying to get our Ares attack into her, but there she goes. That's the first boss done. So pretty good time so far. We haven't got to Merciful End, but we'll take it. We don't really need it until we get to the third stage. And on the way to the second stage, we can also take a health up, as well as check the shop, which there's nothing I really want from there, so I'll save my money. Here you can see us go up the labyrinth as we try to make it out of the underworld, and we make it to our next area, Asphodel. So for this next area, all the enemies are going to get stronger and much harder to deal with, including these blue guys which try to attack you multiple times. So I'm trying to be smart and not going into the lava. The lava is also really annoying. This is probably why this is one of the harder stages for me, at least at first. I got used to it after a while. You just have to make sure you don't sit in the lava for too long, but there's a lot of stage hazards that can get to you, so you got to play this pretty careful. Still, I'm just going to go for these guys in general, do a couple hits, crush that guy, and we can get this, which unfortunately what we got right there was an upgrade to one of our boons, and it can make it do more damage. But instead of being able to upgrade what we wanted, which would have been our attack, we got all of our Athena boons, so it really wasn't the best situation. Still, it doesn't matter too much. It does give us a bit of extra damage, but what we really want to focus on right now is palming anything that has to do with Ares, and that's because the doom effect will become even better once we get Merciful End. But again, I'll explain it when we hopefully get it later. But we can see right here, we can go to the shop. Unfortunately, we don't have 150 gold, so we're not going to be able to buy a boon, but we can check over here, and there's nothing I really want. And now it's time for another mini boss area, because we see another god right here. Not exactly the god we wanted to see, but it's the god we got. So we're going to open up with this, and the first thing you want to do is attack these blue crystals, because they don't actually attack you back. Instead, what they'll do is they'll protect your enemies. They'll make the enemies invulnerable, so we want to deal with them first, then we can deal with the other guys, and that's the general strategy. Both of these guys are pretty close together, so I will attack them a few times, and he just had one hit left. Then we're just focusing on this dude. Thankfully, because our special is Athena, we're able to deflect everything this guy has to throw at us. So it's really nice having this Athena special. It's probably one of the best in the game. Just Athena in general is amazing, but you can see right there, all of them are protected. They're impervious until I take care of the crystal. So we got to deal with that first. And then we just have all these guys who are all trying to explode me. They're kind of jerks, but that's going to deal with them. And at the end, I will dash to the gate just to save a little bit of time before we see Dionysus. And here I'm going to take Premium Vintage, because that basically just gives us 25 extra health. We don't really want to see Dionysus here, but we'll take him. I mean, he does give us one power up, and it wasn't the worst power up we could have gotten. But yeah, we're just going to keep going, taking care of all these spooky, scary skeletons. I don't know why I had to say it like that, but we're just going to keep killing them. These are pretty easy enemies to deal with, honestly. I don't mind if the game keeps giving me them instead of these bomb guys who are so annoying. Jump up, throw bombs all around. Thankfully, we have the Athena special, so they're not the worst thing in the world, but that's going to be them. And that will be everything done. We get another heart, which I like. We might as well take the fast food, which is going to be some health up, because our other two options would have been darkness or keys, and we want neither of those. Again, we're completing this entire thing in our very first run, so anything like darkness, it just isn't useful to us. I mean, it's there. Sometimes you don't have any other choice, but I will take some extra health because we are a little bit low. I mean, not really that much. I have lost a lot of runs just to playing dumb, and health helps with me not playing as dumb. But we are going to take the shop right here. I would have liked to get the palm right there, but unfortunately this is going to be better, and this is also going to be Ares, which this one is going to give us Impending Doom, which is amazing. So what Impending Doom does is it upgrades our current Doom effect to take 0.5 seconds longer to activate, but it's also going to make it do more damage. So every time they hit, instead of doing 75 damage, now they're doing 120, which will be very nice, especially for this next boss, which is going to be the Hydra. The Hydra, first of all, we deal with its main head, then it sprouts out a bunch of other heads, and it's going to be impervious until we deal with them. And the other heads are a little annoying. They're just switching around, doing a ton of different attacks, and I also have to be careful around their lava. So I'm trying to play this fairly safe. We do have a good amount of health, but I do want to keep it this way, especially because the next area of this game is going to be annoying. But this dude is just hanging out in the lava. Please, man, I'm trying to go fast. Finally, he kind of comes back. I guess I probably should have just tanked some damage right there, but whatever. We're going to get a little damage until he does his head smash attack, which we'll go and dash away from. And then for this attack, we don't have to go away. way, we can just keep going back and forth, and we probably won't get hit at least that much. Now for this next phase, he's gonna spawn a bunch more guys. Last time it was only 3. This time I believe it's 6. Not the hardest things in the world to deal with, but we do want to make sure we hit as many as possible at the same time, getting them grouped up. That was actually really good right there. But that is going to be our 4th one. Now we only have 2 more, and I'm just making sure that I keep track of when they're using their attacks. And I say that as soon as I get hit by that huge head smash attack, but that's fine because we are now on the last phase. I'm going to get a couple of hits, try to use my cast right there, which completely missed, but we'll wait out his head smash. This time it does 3 before going straight into him, attacking him as much as possible. And finally, after just a little bit, finishing him out, and that's going to be the Hydra, which that is 2 out of our 4 main bosses done. We'll take the diamond, which doesn't do anything for us, and we'll be on our way. Of course, there is going to be some more stuff like healing up right there, and right here I can see that we might as well get some health up, and I'm going to see if I have anything to sell, which I don't want to sell any of that stuff, so we're on our way. Moving up the underworld yet again to our next area, which this one is a very scary area, probably the scariest in the game, which is going to be Elysium, and right away we will see Athena, so I'm going for that, because at this point what we want to find is our duo boon, which is going to be Merciful End. Now what Merciful End does is you see the doom effect we have. It takes a while to actually proc, but when you have Merciful End, anytime you have the doom effect on them and then hit them with an attack that deflects, it will happen right away. So I won't have to wait out this time, and instead I can either dash into them or use my special and they get hit with it immediately. So you can see why it will be very good when we eventually hopefully get it, but we'll check right here. And Athena is going to give us Divine Protection, which will be a legendary, and that's kind of unlucky, but there is another Athena right here, so I'll take it. Basically how this game works is legendaries and duo boons are on the same level. So right there, since we got lucky enough to get a duo or a legendary, the game gave us a 50-50 chance to get Divine Protection or Merciful End, and this one went to Divine Protection. I want both of them ultimately, but I would have preferred getting Merciful End first. Still not the worst thing in the world because we have another chance right here. I just have to play it pretty well, and you can see that Divine Protection is very good. What Divine Protection does is it gives you a free shield every 20 seconds. Now we still don't want to get hit, so I'm going to play fairly safe, but it makes us a lot safer in general. We don't have to worry about our health as much, well, at least for periods after 20 seconds. Like right now we are not safe, so I'm trying to play fairly good, but there we go. Here's going to be another Athena, and this time we get Merciful End, which is insane luck. Okay, we're going straight over here. We're going to try to palm some boons, but we have both a legendary and a duo right after each other. Now normally you do not get this kind of luck. For the speedrun, I have put a total of I believe 40 to 50 hours in, learning the boss fights, learning how to play the game, and I have actually never gotten both of these together. So this is a super lucky run, and I really don't want to lose it now. Oh, and also right there we can palm the Curse of Agony, which is going to give us some extra attack, and see another Athena right here along with the Ball of Minos. So this is a really unlucky mini boss fight to get because it just takes a lot of time, but thankfully with Merciful End it is not going to take nearly as much. I will still be fairly careful. Again, I have Divine Protection, but I don't want to use it if I don't need to. But you can see just how much damage we're doing, both with our combination of dashing into him and also using our special. We're pretty much always getting a proc of our doom effect like every half second, and it's always doing 208 damage, which makes this build so good. This is the build you pretty much have to get if you're doing this speedrun. No other build is going to give you this much damage, and yeah, that's why we're going for this, and I am so happy with this run so far. We just got to keep it going. Like, that was actually insane luck, and I still can't believe it happened, but it's time to not ruin it. We deal with the Bull of Minos. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually want to fight to his death. Instead, he leaves in the middle of the fight like a jerk. And right here, we are going to get another one of these, which for this, I'll take the Holy Shield. That gives us a little protection ring after getting hit once. It's not too useful, but I guess it's better than anything else there was. I mean, at this point, I don't really care about boons. We have all the boons we need. All we really want to do is upgrade our damage as much as possible and get some more health. Now for these guys, you see the little chariot guys, they explode if they get too close. So what I like doing is using my special because that's going to reflect their attacks and make sure that I don't actually get hit. And there we go. This is also going to be an upgrade to Impending Doom, which is insane. We now have really good attack. And now it's shop time, which in here I will take some health up because I don't really care about anything else, and we'll also get another health up. That's lucky. Oh, but this time the little chariot dudes, they not only need to get hit once but twice, which is kind of unlucky. We will use our special twice because we do not want them to attack us. There's also the big chariot guy. That's not fair. Why do they both have shields? But I guess I can't really complain when I have this insane build right now, so we're just gonna keep it going. There's also the splitters that that use their attacks, and we do not want to get hit by those. I do have my shield procced right now, so that is pretty good. And now our damage is up to 229, which is kind of crazy. So this is a super good run, and we see some more things that we can palm. Hopefully this is going to give us even more attacks, so I would appreciate that. I don't know, I feel like I'm being a little greedy at this point, but I just want everything, all right? I want to get this run done. Like I said, I've been putting the last 40 to 50 hours just into this game, learning the speedrun. And don't get me wrong, this speedrun is amazing. Probably one of my favorite speedruns I've ever learned. But it's a stressful game. I really would recommend trying the speedrun if you are interested, though. It's super fun. And that is going to be another upgrade that's absolutely insane. So here, I think I actually kind of made a mistake. I went for the shop, but we don't really need the shop. Instead, I could have just gotten a free Dionysus boon. But whatever, not the worst thing. And now you're seeing that we're not only going to fight the Minotaur like we did earlier, but there's also Theseus. They're really cocky, like, oh yeah, we're going to beat you. Theseus is kind of a jerk. But there is kind of one nice thing. Since we did battle the Minotaur earlier, he is a little bit damaged this time, so he is going to go down a bit easier, but still, it's just not worth it to see him earlier. But with this attack, I cannot complain. We are doing so much damage to this dude, and I'm actually playing pretty risky since I have the shield around me at all times. I'm not too worried about that. We're just going to try to play the best possible. We're also trying to dodge the spear throws that are always happening. You'll see that every once in a while. I get a little signal on me, and we're just trying to run around those. But now it's time to just deal with Theseus, which you can use this strategy, which is broken. Basically, you just want to stand right by him, hit him twice, get your Doom procs off twice, and that's going to do a ton of damage. He'll go and use his spin attack, and he's always going to use his spin attack when you're this close to him. So yeah, we can just do this over and over again until he gets his shield. This is going to be his second phase, and now he's calling on Artemis. A good thing is because we never got Artemis, he's going to call on her instead of someone like Dionysus. That would have been way harder. His one is a lot more difficult than what Artemis does. You can see that this is a pretty easy attack to dodge, and we will finish out Theseus very easily. We did not take a single hit of damage. That is insane. I have never had a run this good, and we also have really good strength too. We are doing amazing, so I will go ahead and take that. We'll check the shop. We might as well take the yarn, which is going to make our next boon upgraded quality. But we are now going on to the very last part of this game with an insane run. So we'll get into this area. You can see we're in the Temple of Styx, and unfortunately blocking our way, there is our puppy dog Cerberus. Now Cerberus doesn't want to attack us, and we don't want to attack him. So instead, we're going to go get him a treat, and he's going to let us go through. What a nice guy. And from here, I'm considering what I want to take, but I guess we'll go to Dionysus. We don't really need anything of those, but Dionysus can give us some pretty good things, so we might as well go in here. And now what we have to deal with is a bunch of people that try to poison us. And if you get poisoned, it does a ton of damage over time. You can heal yourself by going to those yellow fountains, but poison is one of my least favorite effects. But let me explain what's exactly going on in this area if you haven't seen it before. Basically, we're looking for a treat for our doggy, and there are multiple different rooms that we can go into. It will never spawn in the first room though, so while we're going through here, we're not going to find the treat no matter what. There is going to be a little boss fight at the end, but it can spawn on the second one and has, I think, around a 50% chance to spawn in the second rooms, and then if it's not there, it's going to be the third room, and so on. But anyways, of course, like I said before, it's not going to be this room, so this is the final room of this area, which we have to take out a ton of these tiny little mice. They all are trying to poison us and just be jerks, but we deal with them and then deal with this guy who he's trying to poison us, and I hate this guy. He has made me lose so many of my runs. This area in general, you don't get here very often, so I'm not the greatest practiced on it, at least compared to places like Tartarus, so I am playing this pretty safe. Of course, we have very good health and we're doing very well in general, but yeah, I do not want to die here, especially not on this run. We can use a trap kill. I wasn't exactly planning on doing that, but now there's just all the rats, which we'll deal with, and we get this one, which this boon I will take, I think, positive outlook, because that's going to make Hades do less damage to us, and that of course is going to be the first room. So now we can actually find the treat from here on out, and for this one, I think I'm going to look for an upgrade for my boons. And like I said, I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure there is an above 50% chance that we will find the treat here, but it's not always going to happen, and that's just kind of what Hades speedrunning is. It's all luck, but it's also how you adapt to that luck, so that's why I love this speedrun so much. But those guys, super annoying. They put poison all over the ground, and I hate that stuff. We actually dodged it somehow. Now we have have to deal with this snake laser guy. Thankfully, it's only one of him, so he's pretty easy. And in this next room, we are already on the boss, and it's going to be one of these cauldrons who uses that attack, which is insane. Now, what I was able to do was reflect it and deal with him pretty easily. Now there's going to be these rats, which they're going to try and use their poison on me, but as long as I'm playing this pretty safe, we get done with that easily, and also get another upgrade on Impending Doom. That is insane. We didn't get the greatest luck other than that because we didn't get the tree. Still though, that's fine. We are now going on to the next one, and as long as we get it in the third room, I'm usually okay with that because that's just how speedrunning Hades is, but we will try to go through these guys as much as possible. I'm still at 175 health, which is crazy. And also at the end of this, we'll get another extra 25 health, which will be nice too. So I'm doing pretty well. I am very happy with my build at this point. It's just about getting to the end and getting to the last boss fight, which looking in this room, there we go. That's the treat that we need. We can get our max health. We can go to the fountain to get some extra healing, even though we didn't need it. And now we can go pet our little puppy dog, give him his treat, and he leaves us, lets us go through. So there we go. We're finally making it out of the underworld. But of course, they could not end this game without one last boss fight, which is going to be our dad. Now, one little cool thing is your dialogue actually changes here if you get it first try. Instead of us saying, oh yeah, you killed us time after time, we say you tried to kill us. And yeah, it's actually kind of cool. Feels good that we did this, but this is by far the hardest boss fight in the entire game. At least for this run, I actually found this boss fight in my casual playthrough a little bit easier than the third one with Theseus. But in here, when you only have one dash, it is so difficult. Now, what we're going to do is instead of using our general combo where we're using our special, what I like to do for this boss fight is to just swipe once and then dash. Now, what that does is make me always be alert because for this boss fight, you always have to be ready to dash away. If you mistime a single one of your dashes, you are going to get punished, and Hades punishes you extremely hard. His attacks do a ton of damage. Even though we do have 200 at this point, we do not want to get hit by any of those. I will also take out those skulls because if you let them rest for too long, then they do a big area attack, and we just don't want to deal with that. But this is going to be his third phase. We got really good luck on the enemies that he's spawning. Usually he spawns a couple of them at the same time, but we're doing pretty well on that, so I'm not going to complain. We've also taken literally 0 damage, but Hades is going to use his run attack. We can get his spin. Anytime he spins, you can usually get 4 attacks in, which is really nice. And I'm in general focusing on these skulls a little bit before focusing on Hades because, okay, it looks like that one is going to do an area attack. We can dodge all that stuff, get a couple more in here, and he's almost done, at least with this first phase of him, and there we go. That's going to be the first one, which at this point we're like, oh yeah, we did it, but we didn't actually do it. That was only Hades' first phase because now he gets all his health back and gets even harder. And that's including this attack where he raises a bunch of these urns from the ground, and if you hit them, they'll use this hand attack all around. Thankfully, I had my shield right there. We used it at that point, but we're still doing well. We have 200 HP, so I think I'm going to play this a little bit less safe. Well, I say that, but then he uses attack like this. We tried to use our thing right there. I wanted to cast him, but that wasn't the greatest thing in the world. But anytime he does that hand thing, that means he's going to use his lasers, which I just have to go behind a pillar to dodge that. Now he's going to go ahead, get some more of these urns. That is a good time to attack him. He will hit us right there. Thankfully, we had our shield and use his combo. Again, with his spins, you get a couple of attacks in, and that is going to be halfway through his second phase where, what was that? Dude, that was crazy. But he's going to use that. Now, I have so much health, so at this point, I don't even care. I'm going to play a lot more risky, which was kind of a bad idea because now he's taking 50 damage. But here, I'm going to hug my dad. If you hug him and go right next to him, he doesn't actually damage you, which I believe isn't a glitch. It's actually an intended feature, but it's really funny. So we're able to get a ton of damage in right there. Just keep hitting him. He's now dashing all over the place. You can see where we learned our moves from. But I am just trying to deal with this man. He is so annoying, dashing all over the place. You are almost dead. Please, Dad, just take your death. That's time 3110, which will give us 43rd place on speedrun.com. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.